First of all, welcome to the show. I don't even remember, excuse me, eating the cough drop. Allergy season, you know? I don't even remember the last time I did a stream. I don't remember. But man, when I don't do a stream, I definitely miss boxing. So let me tell you what's going on since we don't have much time to talk. Errol Spence is going to be having a media workout momentarily. Live media workout from Texas. Yordenis Ugas, WBA Super World Champion, had his yesterday, April the 16th, 2022, on Showtime Championship Boxing pay-per-view. We're going to have Errol Spence, WBC IBF 147-pound welterweight champion, taking on Yordenis Ugas, WBA champion. For the casuals, it's a 3-belt unification. Only one more remains, and that's the WBO, held by Terrence Crawford, who is now a promotional free agent because he left Top Rank after accusing Top Rank of being of bigotry. Okay. And, you know, they owe him like what was it he's suing for? Like 4.5 million or something dollars. I think he's suing for like 10. I don't know, legal mumbo jumbo. A little disclaimer here. It seems as though I have to say this more because people seem to get lost in the sauce a little bit, but we're not always supposed to agree. There's going to be some times where you're going to be like, yo, man, this guy's all right. You know, T Street, you know, he knows what he's talking about. He's the real deal, Jack. And there's going to be sometimes you're going to watch my videos. You're going to be like, yo, this guy's a fucking maniac. What the hell is he talking about? Get this guy off my screen. But nonetheless, I'm here for you, the people. And here on this channel, your voices shall be heard. So we got some heavy shit to talk about here. First, we're going to start with, let me open up the stream for this media workout for Errol Spence. Errol Spence's last fight. How long ago was that? Hold on, I'm a little bit behind. Let me catch up. This media workout you're seeing on the screen, that's from yesterday. Yordenis Ugas had his. And I'm going to go ahead and say, listen, my gut is telling me something. My gut is telling me that I don't want to stay on the fence, but sometimes I curse boxers and I can jinx them. So a part of me in my soul, deep down in my soul, I think that Yordenis Ugas can do it. I think that Ugas can do it. What you guys think? I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm saying he's got the tools. And it's a little controversial, but I think a win over Ugas for Errol Spence would be the biggest win of his career. Bigger than Sean Porter. Because Yordenis Ugas arguably defeated Sean Porter in the StubHub Center. It's always going to be the StubHub. Right? Does that make sense? No? All right. Well, his last fight was against Danny Garcia. Remember, it was supposed to be Manny Pacquiao, but he had the eye injury. Errol Spence, 27 and where we are. 27-0 with 21 KOs, inactivity, mostly because of injury. He was on, you know, a nice little hot streak with the introduction to pay-per-view against Mikey Garcia, and then the other pay-per-view against Sean Porter. And in this day and age, some people kind of confuse my words when I say that in this day and age, you rarely see a pay-per-view with two African-American fighters headlining. And we haven't had that in quite a while. When was the last time? I'm talking about a significant fight. When was the last time? Was it Floyd Shane Mosley? They usually let the match the black fighter against the Hispanic fighter. You see what I'm saying? Unless it's the Canelo factor. But for him and Sean Porter to headline a pay-per-view, that was significant. And from start to finish, the build-up was phenomenal. I enjoyed the PBC on Fox fight camps. I enjoyed the PBC on Fox.
How dare you?
With Brian Campbell. How dare you, pound for pound? How dare you? Thanks for the super chat. Salute everybody. Hit the like button. Yeah, thank you. Please like the video. Subscribe. But anyway, even the post-fight press conference, and you saw that Sean Porter, you know, even though he a nice, humble dude, he got like a psycho crazy side to him, you know? But nonetheless, top tier card, top tier fight, top tier build up. I enjoyed it. So then, you know, it was the accident when he flipped his Ferrari. Hold on, let me open up this media workout here. It was the accident when he flipped his Ferrari or whatever kind of car it was. When just so happens, ironically, him not wearing his seatbelt saved him and ejected his ass. Drunk drivers, man, you know. But let's just leave that alone. Glad he's okay. Glad he's back. He comes back. How long was that? About 14 months, 15 months later. And he fights Danny Garcia. Solid fight, but he was still the favorite to win the fight. It's just that people wanted to see how Errol Spence was going to look after being in such a horrific accident, because there was so much going around that he may not fight again. You know, he was having all kind of issues. Motherfuckers were saying he might go to prison. You know, it was a whole bunch of shit floating around, man. So cool, easily dispatched of Danny Garcia and looked phenomenal. Looked, you know, in the best shape of his life, or his career, to me. And then he was supposed to fight Manny Pacquiao. What was that? Was that August or July of this last year? Let me pull it up. Ugas was on the undercard. He got elevated to the main event. Okay, that was August, yeah. He got elevated to the main event and gave Manny Pacquiao a boxing lesson. So Errol Spence missed out on that passing of the torch, because to me, that's what it was supposed to be. And now here we are, April the 16th, for $74.99, we're going to have a 3-bout unification on Showtime pay-per-view. Now, it's a kind of a tricky card, because what they're doing is Cryz versus Yuriorkis Gamboa is the co-feature. I get the politics behind that, but shitty fight to me. They're only giving Cryz that co-feature status because his last fight he headlined a pay-per-view, even though he was a step-in, you know, with Tank Davis. So that's a way to pacify him. But Yuriorkis Gamboa, I'm tired of him. Like, they just keep wheeling him out. They just keep wheeling him out. So what we're going to do is we're also going to be streaming the press conference here. I put the link on the channel for you guys. The press conference for Kambosos and Devin Haney, or is it just going to be Devin Haney? I think it's just going to be Devin Haney. And maybe they'll have Kambosos via satellite or some shit. So yeah, we're going to be streaming that. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern in about, 4 hours from now. Right now, if you don't know, we're doing the waiting for the feed to go live for Errol Spence's media workout from Texas. Did I tell you guys about the bad blood I have down in Texas? I tell you guys that story. Some bad blood. The blood is bad. And it's not even my fault. So yeah, in the chat right there, that's the stream link for the Devin Haney top ranked press conference or whatever it's going to be. So anyway, let's go look at this card here. Yeah, the blood is bad, man. And you know, down like near the border, what they do to you. Hold on, why am I dropping frames? What's going on here? Here, let me do something here. What's going on? Do I have too much shit open? What's going on? This is top tier equipment right here. We're supposed to be in high quality. My bad, guys. Give me a minute. All right, yeah. So here's the card. Now on Showtime, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, you're going to have 2 fights on regular Showtime. You're going to have, and I put everything down below in the description box for you guys, by the way. You're going to have, what is it again? It's going to be Jose Valenzuela versus Francisco Vargas, and then Radzhab Butaev versus Eimantis. They are to be the WBA mandatory for the winner of Spence versus Ugas. We're going to talk all deep politics and rankings and everything later on. We're about to start. We're about to start. So this is the live media workout for Errol Spence. His first fight back since losing out on the Manny Pacquiao fight to eye injury. We did stream that media workout as well, and he looked good. You know, to me, the last couple of years after the accident, you haven't seen him really blow up in weight. and he has been looking, to me, the best he has of his career. So we are going to be here on April the 16th, and likely we will probably be streaming during the main event because there's no competing cards on that night. I put all the upcoming fights and everything down below in the description box. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I know I've been inconsistent with my content. Either way, on the weekends, I'm always here, but my weekly content has been inconsistent, you know, since about November or so. I have my reasons. One day soon, I'm hoping to tell the whole story. I'm itching to tell it, but you know, it's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo going on. And you know, I'm back in court next week. There's Baby Hands Ray Flores. He got all those rings and everything on. He's probably, it looked like he's been working on them though. He used to have some real tiny hands.
IBF welterweight champion, undefeated Errol the Truth Spence Jr. as he prepares to put both of his titles on the line against the WBA champion Yordenis Ugas, who's also putting his championship up for grabs. 3 world titles will be on the line, just the 12th time in welterweight history that the welterweight division will be unified to a degree. You can watch the action live on Saturday, April 16th on Showtime Sports pay-per-view. It all comes your way from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And here's a man who is main eventing for the 3rd time, the only fighter to have such a distinction. I'm talking about the WBC and the IBF welterweight champion of the world, Errol Spence Jr. Errol, welcome back. How are you feeling as we are just over 2 weeks away until you collide against Yordenis Ugas?
I feel good, man. I'm ready to go, man. Very excited. Been training hard, been focused 100%, and ready to put on the show.
Now, you have been away from the ring for about 16 months. You had a layoff of about 13 to 14 months your first time.
That's a significant layoff.
Is it easier to deal with the layoff this time, or does it not matter to you?
Big balls for him coming back to fight Ugas.
Because, you know, it was a lot, you know, stress on my body, you know, being an accident the first time. So the second time was a little bit much easier, and I already knew what to expect, and I already been training and focused, so I'm ready to go.
So what is it like in terms of this preparation for Yordenis Ugas? If you can move this way, Errol, by all means. But what has this training camp been like for you, preparing for someone who's as tricky as Yordenis Ugas? He comes from the Cuban School of Boxing. He's 12-1 since he reunited with one Ismael Salas, and he made his return to the ring back in August of 2016. What's training camp been like?
Training camp been great. Been having great sparring partners, man. Been training hard, been 100% focused. Got nutritionists and things like that to make it easier with the weight cut, so everything been good.
You are beloved here in your home state of Texas. What is it like, once again, having your name and the top of the marquee at AT&T Stadium in Arlington? You're a diehard Cowboys fan, and for the 3rd time, you're making that ring walk yet again.
Mr. Dream come true, man. Just be fighting at home in front of my organic fans and, you know, everybody coming out to see me fight, so everybody's gonna wear their Sunday's best, and you know, they spend their time and their
His mic cut out. That's not on my end.
Showing a great performance just to show my gratitude.
What are you hoping this performance does and says to the rest of the welterweight division?
I'm not hoping to say anything. Like I said, you know, my performance alone is gonna, you know, send a statement to everybody in boxing, and I have 3 belts, so you know what that means.
All right. Well, Errol, we appreciate the time. We look forward to watching you work out. We'll talk with you after your workout because I have some interesting questions in regards to what I heard from yesterday from Ismael Salas and Yordenis Ugas.
Okay, thank you.
Errol, the Truth Spence Jr. getting ready to work out here as we are in Dallas, Texas. Just to run down the pay-per-view that you are going to see. We'll start off on Showtime Sports coming up on Saturday, April 16th on Showtime Championship Boxing. You will see Brandun Lee matching up against Zachary Ochoa.
My bad, I got it wrong.
Go ahead and we will move around the gym a little bit and try to go ahead and give Errol his space to go ahead and get himself prepared for his workout. But what you're going to see on Saturday, April 16th, you will see Brandun Lee, who's won 15 straight fights by knockout. He puts his knockout streak on the line against the very exciting and determined Zachary Ochoa. The main event of our Showtime Championship Boxing on Saturday, April 16th from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, features a matchup between Radzhab Butaev, who holds a welterweight championship, as he will take on the Lithuanian Olympian in Eimantis. Then we'll move on to pay-per-view at
I
9
love me
Eastern,
some
6
Sonny on
Pacific
the...
time, as we will start off with the exciting Canadian fighter in Cody Crowley, fresh off of a W over Kudratil Abdukukarov. He will match up against the Riverside Rocky, Josesito Lopez. Then we'll go to 135 as Jose
What?
Valenzuela,
What name was
11-0
that?
with 9 knockouts, takes on the former world champion in Francisco Vargas. We'll stay at 135 as we go ahead and move on to the co-main event. And it's Isaac Cruz, fresh off of a loss at the hands of Gervonta Davis in what was a very thrilling affair back in December from what was called Staples Center, now Crypto.com Arena. His assignment on Saturday, April 16th, the Cuban standout in Yuriorkis Gamboa. Then the main event of the evening for all the welterweight championships, with the exception of one. I'm talking about Errol the Truth Spence Jr. putting 2 titles on the line against Yordenis Ugas, who has 1 title up for grabs. It all comes your way on Saturday, April 16th on Showtime Boxing pay-per-view. If you're here in the Dallas area or you want to make the journey here, this is a wonderful city to see a prize fight. You can get tickets at SeatGeek.com. They are the official ticketing partner of AT&T Stadium. This event, presented by Premier Boxing Champions, promoted by TGB Promotions, along with Man Down Promotions. It is such a deep card from top to bottom. You do not want to miss this on Saturday, April 16th from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And also, the history that will be made on Saturday, April 16th.
All right, Jesus,
the
baby
fact
hands,
that Errol
wrap it up.
Spence Jr. is the only fighter to main event at AT&T Stadium 3 times. Not Pacquiao, not Canelo. Nobody has done it besides him, and he gets that distinction on Saturday, April 16th. But he knows he's got to come out and look mightily impressive in order to take the title away from Yordenis Ugas. Ugas said, I've been in opponents' backyards before. This is no foreign territory for me. I expect a tremendous fight, and you, the fans, will win on Saturday, April 16th. Do not miss it, as we will get ready to watch Errol the Truth Spence Jr. work out here at his home gym in Dallas, Texas, as we get set just over 2 weeks away.
All right. And sometimes, you know, they just don't know how to wrap it up. Let's see if he's talking. Nah, they're going to play some music or something. Anyway, what's going on? What up, Donnell? Yeah, we can't hear what he's saying. I'll leave the volume up anyway. But anyway, overall, I like the card. But that Isaac Cruz, Yuriorkis Gamboa, that fight makes me kind of sick. By the way, we're dealing with a little bit of lag. I just had to take my PC apart and rebuild it again today. I had to install a new fan for my CPU, so my settings are a little off. We're lagging a little bit. We're also going to be back at 8 p.m. Eastern. What time is it now? 4:12 for the Devin Haney top rank signing press conference.
By Derek James here in Dallas as Errol Spence Jr. handling some media obligations. But Derek, what has training camp been like here in preparation for Yordenis Ugas?
It's been great, man. He's been working hard. He's been looking very strong. Has some very physical, very quick, very sharp sparring partners to keep him on his toes. And if he's not coming 100%, they're going to let him know it. But he's been really well.
The one thing that Ismael Salas told me yesterday in regards to his assessment of Errol Spence, he said that Errol Spence Jr. is not the same fighter anymore. He said he saw a distinct difference from the Errol Spence Jr. that we saw against Sean Porter in September of 19 to Danny Garcia in December of 2020. How do you respond to those comments?
I think that you just see a different fight style. I mean, different strategy, different game plan for a different fighter.
Strategies.
And at the same time, that's all it is. I mean, it wasn't anything about, he's okay, he's good.
How's the eye doing for Errol?
It's great. We haven't even thought about it. I mean, it's not even
Now, this layoff, I asked Errol in the sense that he had a 14-month layoff from September of 2019 to December of 2020. Now, this is a 16-month layoff. Is it easier to navigate this layoff and the ring rust compared to that of the first time?
I think that it's all about the, it's no difference in the sense that it was more therapeutic the first time with the accident. This time it's more about, he's been training for a long
missed out on
time.
a coupon.
So it's like he's been training for months and months and months because he knows this fight was coming. So he's prepared for it mentally, and he's prepared for the fight. He's been working very hard. I mean, so physically, his body looks amazing. It looked like that months before the fight. So it lets me know he's ready to go.
Is it nice because you are a student of the sport, you love reading about the history, but the fact that you are going to match wits against somebody the caliber of Ismael Salas, who's a world-renowned trainer just like yourself.
I think that's great. I never think about it like that, but at the same time, hey, it's good. I mean, it's great to be matched knowledge and wit for wit. You know, I almost had Freddie the last fight. So it's like, hey, you get the best of the best. So he's the guy that mastered and conquered Pacquiao. So now it's our time to go in there and take care of what we need to take care of.
You and Errol are embedded in the fabric of boxing here in Dallas. Is it crazy to think, surreal to think, that this is the third time that Errol's main eventing at AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I think that it was just for the Cowboys to kind of come around and us to kind of make the connection, because he fought here once at the Bomb Factory, like early in his career. Then he fought at the Star, which you remember that.
I remember that against Carlos Ocampo.
Right. Then now coming out to this is just like it's a maturation of the fighter. It's a process, and just to be able to fight there, I could say, like, for me, it's not a dream come true because I could never dream or imagine something like that. But for a young fighter like Errol, he could, you know, it's a dream come true because this is what he's always thought about. He saw Pacquiao fight there when he was in the amateurs, so now he's thinking, I wanted the same thing also. So, I mean, in his day and age, like when I was fighting, we really weren't fighting in the stadiums, you know what I mean? You may get in or football stadiums, that is. And so now it's amazing to be there, man. Can't wait.
Is it special because this is the third go-around? Do you like being there, and does it feel like home to you guys? And that ring walk, does this ring walk feel a little bit different compared to others?
This is the most amazing, probably part of the whole event, other than the fight. To be embraced by the fans, the way you feel the energy. You go out there and you see everybody cheering, and, you know, it's crazy, man. I mean, I think that's amazing, and that's so important. I mean, I think it gives us energy. It gives me energy. It gives me a lot. And we invited my kids from the Boys and Girls Club out there. So now we got somebody really special coming out also. So it's going to be great.
What do you think we're going to see from Errol Spence Jr.? What do you anticipate that the rest of the world is going to witness on Saturday, April 16th from AT&T Stadium in Arlington?
I think that you're going to see Errol and him back in his top 2 form. I mean, I think he's going to go out there. He's going to handle business. Ugas is a phenomenal fighter, so let's not take him for granted at all, because that's not the case. He's very smart. He's very intelligent. He has a very smart corner. I've always said that. A great corner. I've always said that. And we'll just see match wit for wit, skill for skill, and see really who is the true. I mean, because he's going to be unified champ after that. One more belt. That's what we want.
So assuming all goes according to plan and Errol
said
he
said it. Yosini, he said it.
April 16th, does that then make the next assignment somebody that you want in the WBO welterweight champion of the world, Terrence Crawford?
It's here. It's here.
I think that's what I've been hearing everywhere, so we'll see. That's what he's been hearing. He wants to unify it, so it's the next step to that situation, so we'll see.
Derek, always appreciate the time. We look forward to seeing you throughout the next few moments, and then we will see you during fight week here in Dallas.
Thank you.
No Derek James, one of the best trainers in all of boxing, joining us here in Dallas. And we with our preview here in Dallas.
I'm about to be a scumbag YouTuber, and I'm about to twist Derek James' words all up. He said it. He said they're going after Crawford. That's what he said. I'm going to do a video. It's going to be breaking news. Derek James says Crawford's next. They want the WBO. And I'm going to say he said Crawford's scared. I'm going to say that. I'm going to put that in the title.
Errol Spence Jr. meeting the media.
I mean, I don't regret it. You know, I feel like, you know, everything happens for a reason. So
I'm going to twist this shit all up.
If I would have fought him, I probably would have, you know, been blind in his eye and would have lost.
I heard
my
him say
career.
it.
You know, so everything happened for a reason. I got to just take the punches and just roll with it.
Let me ask you.
We got the tape.
And currently, right now in boxing, we're seeing a new wave. We're seeing a lot of younger generation fighters that seem to be taking, as far as less amount of money, taking a little bit more risk to chase glory. What is your initial thoughts when you
said
see
it?
That, you know, Shakur Stevenson, for example, him and Oscar Valdez.
I know what I heard.
Devin Haney versus Kambosos. It appears as if they seem to be risking it all in order for them to, you know, get the unifications, get the titles that they want. What is your initial thoughts when it comes to that?
Much respect to them. I mean, them dudes are, you know, 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
You know, if they lose, you know, they can come right back and, you know, win more titles and things like that. You know, for, you know, guys like me, you know, we 33, 32, things like that. So time is not on our side. So, you know, for us, it's you know, of course, it's about the legacy and things like that, but it's about the payday too.
My bad. That was Alexa.
For your Latino fans that are going to be there April 16th supporting you. A message to them.
You said who?
Latino fans are going to be supporting you. You
Yeah.
have big fans from the Hispanic community, especially in Mexico. They're going to be there supporting you April 16th. Message for them?
Thank you, man. That means a lot, and you know, I feel like they are Texas. I mean, they are the population. So, I mean, I thank them for them coming to support me. I'm gonna put on a great show and great performance, and it's gonna be an amazing fight, just like they like.
Errol, last one. Those fans that say that Yordenis Ugas Cuban slick style is tailor made for you and for what you like to do. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, I don't have nothing to say. We'll see when we get in the ring.
Errol, last one. I'm curious to know your opinion about Deontay Wilder. Do you think he should continue his career? You know, 2 tough losses to Tyson Fury.
Man, I think you've been trying to get something this whole time I've been interviewing, man. You got to cheat him.
Thank you.
Well, who's that guy? Who's that guy? I don't know. I mean, I like the fight, to be honest. I'm just here. Let's talk about the card. Let's rate the fights or rank them. I'm guessing he's about to get wrapped up, so we're going to be here a little while. So on regular Showtime before the pay-per-view, hold on, gotta move the mic back. You got Brandun Lee versus Zachary Ochoa. That's 7 p.m. Eastern. Then you have Radzhab Butaev versus Eimantis. Then at 9 p.m. Eastern, the card is going to open up with Jose Valenzuela versus Francisco Vargas. Cody Crowley versus Josesito Lopez. Cryz versus Gamboa. Yes, that's the co-feature. And then, of course, Spence versus Ugas. And those rumors that are going around, and the person who started the rumors, a very credible person, I've worked events with him, is that Crawford is close to a deal with PBC. Ooh, that's seductive. That's seductive, right? That's something to think about for a super undisputed fight in December. Now, if Ugas wins, we can only imagine that there's going to be a rematch with Spence. Yeah, you're on, Ray. This is where you get the juicy stuff. Let's listen in. Shh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, back here in Dallas as we get ready to watch Errol the Truth Spence Jr. work out in preparation for his matchup against Yordenis Ugas. Listen, the one thing I will tell you that's happening on Showtime Championship Boxing, bottom line,
I love the Butaev Stanionis fight.
Fighting the best. You get a unification matchup on Saturday, April 16th from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And then on Saturday, May 14th, between Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano. That'll be live on Showtime Championship Boxing. Incidentally, Jermell Charlo and Errol Spence Jr. happen to be stablemates. Why? Because they are trained by the same man in Derek James. So the best are fighting the best. And I got to tell you, this card, and I know I continue to emphasize this a lot over the past 2 days, but this card is tremendous. The main event on Showtime Championship Boxing, aside from the main event on the pay-per-view, is well worth the price of admission, and you're getting it for free. Radzhab Butaev and Eimantis, respectively. They are 28 years of age and they're 27 years of age. They're both in the welterweight division. Butaev holds a secondary title in the welterweight division. They both are undefeated. They're both focused. They're both determined. And they both don't like to take a step backwards. That is going to be a very exciting matchup. And then we get set for the pay-per-view. All 3 undercard pay-per-view fights. Typically, I'm not going to lie to you, I would say you can come in the co-main event. You could come right before the main event. But this is the kind of card that you want to be able to sit down and relax and be with your friends, your family, your buddies, get your food of choice, get your beverage of choice, because every one of these fights on the pay-per-view are going to be exciting. We'll start off with Cody Crowley and Josesito Lopez. Cody Crowley upset one Kudratilo Abdukukarov, and now he has one of the most exciting fighters, or a very exciting fighter, in the Riverside Rocky, Josesito Lopez. Josesito Lopez has never been in a boring fight in his life. Then we'll move on to a young man who's 11-0, with 9 knockouts, 22 years of age, in Jose Valenzuela. His opponent, Francisco Vargas. Vargas is coming off of losing a unanimous decision loss at the hands of Isaac Cruz back in June in Houston, Texas. And we saw what Isaac Cruz was able to do in a losing effort against Gervonta Davis. Isaac Cruz is no joke whatsoever. And the fact that Vargas, even in his 30s, took Isaac Cruz the distance, I think he's going to try to test, and will no doubt be a good litmus test for Jose Valenzuela to see if he is a up-and-coming prospect or if he's a budding contender. And then we talked about Isaac Cruz coming back to the ring after losing a very close fight against Gervonta Davis. In my estimation, Davis won that fight, but Isaac Cruz, to me, gained more and did not lose any stock whatsoever. Rather, his stock increased in the loss to Gervonta Davis, and he takes on Yuriorkis Gamboa. Gamboa's been around for a long time, and Gamboa knows that this might be his last stand to be able to fight at this level. Then the main event of the evening, just the 12th time that somewhat of the welterweight division will be unified, as Errol Spence Jr. looks to not only defend his 2 championships, but defend his home turf, because he's here at AT&T Stadium.
All right, listen, I can't do it no more. I can't do it no more. Like, and that's, you know, it's not Ray Flores' fault. That's his job to talk in circles and keep, the flow going, while Errol Spence getting his hands wrapped and everything. But I'm sorry, like, sometimes it's just like, all right, bro, killing me here. Let's see, what up, Donnell? Well, for one, I'm not a fan of Gamboa anymore. The man has had, significant injuries. He's not what he was. I'm still shocked that Devin Haney didn't knock him out. By the way, once again, we're going to be back here in at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's 4:26 right now for the press conference for Devin Haney signing with Top Rank. That's supposed to be at 8 p.m. I already made the link for that. This card, if I was to rate this card, looking at it on a A to F scale, with A plus and minus, I'm going to look at it. And I'm going to be like B. How about that? I can't give it an A. B. Not B minus, because that's close to a C. Not B plus, because that's close to an A. Just a B. Because in reality, what you're paying for is there's only 2 fights on the card that really, really mean something. And that's the Butaev Stanionis, and that's on the regular Showtime portion, and Spence versus Ugas. Josesito Lopez, Cody Crowley. Josesito Lopez should win that. Showcase-ish type fight, crowd, fun, fan fight. That's a fun fight. There's nothing wrong with that. Isaac Cruz versus Gamboa. That's a crowd fun fight. I'm expecting, kind of hoping, Yuriorkis Gamboa gets a boot put in his ass. Jose Valenzuela versus Francisco Vargas. Francisco Vargas, a little long in the tooth. A lot of scar tissue going on there, so I expect him to get cut, lose. That's a nice up-and-coming fight. Like okay, you at 11-0, try to get past him, like former champion. Brandun Lee, fun to watch. Zachary Ochoa, I've covered him. Wasn't he over on the Golden Boy side? It's not that they're fun fights. It's just maybe I'm just a bitter-ass, jaded boxing fan right now. Maybe. Maybe. Like, I acknowledge that they're fun fights. I acknowledge that part. Okay. All right, cool. But fights that mean something. And it's kind of shocking that Butaev Stanionis is not on the pay-per-view portion. There's something going on with that. And then you get Isaac Cruz and Gamboa, and Isaac Cruz, in my opinion, is getting that co-feature slot or that chief support being the fight before the main event, Spence versus Ugas, because he was a pay-per-view headliner in his last fight. So they couldn't open up the card with him no more, have him in the middle. You see what I'm saying? And they're trying to keep him, you know, like up there at that level. And he was offered a fight with Ryan Garcia too, you know, but his team, for whatever reason, hey. But yeah, down below in the description box, I put the upcoming fights of note tomorrow, April the 1st. You know, we got some nice, solid fights in the month of April, yo. Especially April the 9th with Golovkin versus Murata. That card's going to be starting at 5 a.m. over on Eastern. Next Saturday, it's a 5 a.m. Eastern card because it's over in Japan. It's going to be on Amazon Prime. You even got the return of Junto Nakatani on that card. And who else? I put it down below. Who else is on that card? I should have printed out my own show notes. Oh, Shuichiro Yoshino versus Masayoki Ito. Judge Ito. And of course, April the 30th, you have Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson. Ooh, now that is seductive. That's a very seductive fight. High eroticism. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. That's also going to be on April the 30th. But from my understanding and what's been going around, the main events are not going to interfere with each other, but you do also have Jesse Vargas versus Liam Smith. That's going to be a fun one. And then you have Franchon Cruz de Zern, you know, the chick who had her wig pulled off by Kevin Cunningham. Or was that Barry Hunter? I forgot. He was Barry Hunter. Yeah, pulled the wig off, but it was still attached, like sewn in. And he was like, rip that fucking shit off her head. When she fought the juiced up female boxer Alejandra Jimenez. Remember that? No? Well, I do. I was in Atlantic City at the time at the Jesse Hart versus Joe Smith Jr. fight. Boy. Anyway, that was a long time ago. Demetrius Andre versus Zach Parker. Demetrius Andre. Matchroom USA is just dead. I posted something about like how Matchroom USA is like in trouble, like they're in like a rebuilding phase. The same with Matchroom UK with Boxer and Probellum, like having pretty much all of the fighters that would normally be on Matchroom shows. They're now on Probellum or Boxer shows. Like, and people not talking about that. That's a big deal. So Matchroom is not going anywhere. They can build stars, but they're definitely in like a rebuilding phase right now. Let me see if they're playing some music. I hope they're not. Likely they are. Oh, Showtime muted it. Good. Showtime got with the program. But yeah, Edgar Berlanga, still not high on him. I would love to see him versus Jesse Hart. Jesse Hart's been lobbying for that fight. Blair Cobbs, don't know what the hell's going on with him now. Woo. Tim Tszyu got dropped, defeated Terrell Goucher last week. Miguel Berchelt. Valdez has his soul. Like every now and then it happens to where you see a fighter get beat up or something happen and you just know. Like, for example, did you know that John Molina Jr. kind of owns two souls? No, wait. Who's got Matisse's soul? Who's got Matisse's soul? Danny Garcia has Matisse's soul. And John Molina has Ruslan Provodnikov's soul. You see what I'm saying? And they never relinquished them joints. Fighters just don't never be the same. And now, Oscar Valdez has the soul of Miguel Berchelt. Let's see what else is going on here. I'm talking about Jeremiah Nakathila beat his ass. Am I missing something? Regis Prograde beat up Tyrone McKenna. Tyrone McKenna's been on the channel before. You know, tough bloke, tough bloke. The Canelo versus Bivol undercard is going to be Montana Love versus a Gabriel Venezuela and a Filip Hrgovic, the Croatian. They always cussing me out because every time I do a Filip Hrgovic video, it always gets blocked, copyright taken down, and I also get abused in the chat. Like the Croatians, they just be cussing me out. They be like, it's, you know, you need to learn how to pronounce his name correctly if you're going to be, you know, like, you know, I've been dealing with that for years now. But Felix Hergovic is fighting Zili Zhang, the Chinaman. That's going to be for the IBF mandatory, for the heavyweight finally. And some other news I missed to talk about was Don King winning the purse bid for Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois because he knows that that's the ticket to get to Anthony Joshua. I won't be surprised if that Don King tries to pull out some tricks and try to screw job.
You are watching the Errol Spence
baby hands, Ray Flores
workout here on the Showtime Sports YouTube page as the WBC and IBF welterweight champion of the world is just over 2 weeks away until he squares off against the WBA champion Yordenis Ugas. All 3 titles will be on the line on Saturday, April 16th from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Just by looking at the physique of Errol Spence Jr., he is absolutely shredded and in peak condition. And here's the scary part, is that we are over 2 weeks away until the fight. Can you
Thanks
imagine
for the super chat, Eddie.
the fine adjustments that Errol is going to
my favorite channel too, mate.
He looks like he could step into the ring tomorrow to take on Yordenis Ugas. And I'll tell you this, giving you my honest assessment, I saw Yordenis Ugas work out yesterday in Las Vegas, and you were watching it here on the Showtime Sports YouTube page. Ugas looks like if he had to step in the ring tomorrow, that he would be ready to go. So the anticipation continues to build between Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas. Welterweight unification on the line Saturday, April 16th from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, live on Showtime pay-per-view, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time.
I forgot what I was talking about. Who looks slower, Spence? I don't know, man. It still is, you know, I mean, he has been out the ring significantly. And for 2 big-time injuries, he's been out. And these guys are just not young anymore in boxing. How old is Spence now? I think he's 31. Let me see. Now, that's not old in boxing at all. But, you know, he's been through some shit. He's 32 years old. He just turned 32 a few weeks ago. The beginning of the month, actually. March the 3rd. What's up, Vato? Yeah, he looks fine to me. I noticed that he's got a lot of ink now. Yeah, that liquor, man, that shit will catch up to you. Hey, I'm sorry. That's it right there. That type of trap music will get your channel shut down. Or get your stream taken down. And you know, T Street loves the trap. You know, can't be playing that. But yeah, man, I haven't really seen anyone say that Errol Spence is going to knock out Ugas or if that is going to be an easy fight. Honestly, as I was saying earlier in the stream, I'm giving Yordenis Ugas a good chance to win. I'm talking about this 50-50 to me. And if I had to give somebody the edge, I would give it to Ugas. You know, my personal opinion. But yeah, you know, it was no secret. I was at a couple of events in the Barclays Center. Like where, and y'all seen those clips? I was at those events like where Errol Spence would be like in there smashed. Him, the Charlos, and Broner. They were known, and Tank Davis too. They were known like to be getting smashed up in the Barclays Center. Because you'll see them at the beginning of the event, they'll do like a little media or something, and then by the end of the night, they just, you know, be smashed. Like, you know? But in Spence's case, people look at him more, you know, and criticize him more because it's like, bro, you got into a whole accident. You flipped your fucking car and got ejected. Like, you know? Like you flipped your wheel and got ejected, like out of the vehicle. So that's why people look at him and be like, yo, you need to chill, bro, with all that drinking shit. Because not only can it destroy your career, like you got kids, like you almost killed yourself, my man. You know? But he's had a pretty, up and down career with the media anyway, or at least with like fans, At one point in time, remember people was like, he's going to be like the next Floyd Mayweather regarding like skills. But he's always been good, but never like to the point where you looked at him as being like, yo, he can be like the invincible one. And as long as he doesn't fight, the more he doesn't fight Terrence Crawford, the more fans are going to look and be like, yo, like he's got to fight Crawford. And then what's going on with the VADA testing? Are people saying that there's no testing for this fight? It's hard. It's hard to believe that. It's hard to believe that. Crawford not straight edge. But it just seems as though, and with with the injury and the accidents, it just seems as though, despite Crawford being older, that Spence has more wear and tear. Naturally, because he's been in an accident. And since we're talking about it, if I was to have to pick today, I would pick Terrence Crawford to defeat Errol Spence. And I think this Ugas fight is really going to be telling, because if he beats Ugas, this is going to be the best win of Errol Spence's career to me. Because I had, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure that I had Ugas beating Sean Porter by like a hair. But it was one of those fights where, he may have won, but he didn't beat the champion. He didn't rip the belt off of him. And as it stands right now, Sean Porter is Errol Spence's best win. And we saw what Terrence Crawford did to him. Made his father throw in the towel. And for those who watched the fight, who tried to bail out Sean Porter, was like, nah, it was Kenny Porter that stopped it. Terrence, with the way that fight was going, Terrence Crawford was going to do some ugly things to Mr. Errol Spence, bro. I mean, that too. Mr. Sean Porter, he was going to do some ugly things to him. So I don't know. Also, there's been hints. Derrick James threw some hints earlier. The rumors are circulating around that at the end of the year, Crawford versus Spence Crawford is going to happen. Because what's the point of collecting the 3 belts if you're not going to, But if Errol Spence loses, I think it's safe to say that it's going to be a rematch clause. And during the press conference for this fight, we had streamed it. Errol Spence has already been talking about moving up in weight. He's been talking about like how it's been difficult to make the weight for some time now. Mr. Conti said there was no VADA announced. Yeah, we're going to have to confirm that. It's hard to believe there's no VADA or drug testing in place. We're going to have to mute that right there a little bit. Great song and all, but yeah, we're going to have to mute that right there, fellas. No way. It's going to be interesting, though, when he does move to 154. I'm wondering how many fights he has left in him. I don't think I've ever seen him on the record say, you know, how long he wants to fight for. Because with the way he's been talking is like he's going to move to 154 after whatever happens after Ugas, whether he fights, you know, Crawford, win or lose. But do you see Errol Spence being the type of guy that if he loses to Crawford that he would still box? I'm pretty sure it will be a 2-fight deal. I don't think it would just be one off. And, you know, we have to accept that Errol Spence is the A side. I wonder if the fight does happen, has Crawford been like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to take short money. Or, you know, not short money, but money that, you know, like, not what he was, you know, normally getting. Just to be like, you know what, I want this fight. Crawford seems like that type of dude. And we're seeing that from guys like Shakur Stevenson to fight Oscar Valdez taking less money than he was accustomed to. And now Devin Haney taking less money, as they say, betting on yourself. However, it did kind of blow up in Wilder's face a little bit when he bet on himself, you know, to fight Fury and not take that money that the zone was pretty much throwing at him. But that's always going to be an argument like that people are going to have. Like, well, the money was never there and all that type of shit like that. So I don't want to get, you know, involved in that anymore. I want to leave that shit alone. Regarding Wilder, though, I said it. I don't think Wilder's coming back, and it's definitely not going to be this year. You know, but he's going to have to do something. Nope. Mute that some more. Mute that some more. So once again, the undercard on the Showtime portion, if you don't know, on Showtime from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., they're going to show 2 fights. It is going to be Brandun Lee versus Zachary Ochoa. Then Radzhab Butaev versus the Montestonians for the WBA world title. The winner is going to be the WBA mandatory for Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas. Then the pay-per-view is going to open up with Jose Valenzuela versus Francisco Vargas. Cody Crowley versus Josesito Lopez. Eastside Cryz versus Yuriorkis Gamboa. And then, of course, the main event for the WBC, WBA Super, IBF, welterweight 147-pound championships. Errol Spence versus Yordenis Ugas. Yordenis Ugas has been racking up a nice, solid resume, but his hands are not clean either. He had issues with, who was that, Abel Ramos. You know, he hasn't just been blowing through guys. And Manny Pacquiao, hey, let's cut the shit. You know, Manny Pacquiao was like fucking 54 years old. But still, quality win. But, you know. And my God, I remember I covered when Yordenis Ugas fought Mike Dallas. And I was like, where the fuck did they pull Mike Dallas Jr. from? Like, he really, it was on FS1, he really fought Mike Dallas Jr., bro. In like this century, in this decade. February 2020, just before the country shut down. Like, I was like, bro, what are they doing out here? Like, they'll do that every now and then, where you'll just see, like, these promoters just pull somebody out of nowhere, and you be like, where the fuck you been at? I'm trying to figure out who's guilty of that the most. Is it Matchroom, PBC, or Top Rank? I think PBC do it more, though. Golden Boy, you do it, too. Like, look, fucking Gamboa. Where's he keep coming from? I know this is a Gamboa hate stream. You know, I don't want to upset my fellow El Cubano brothers. I need to check my ancestry.com to see if I got some El Cubano blood up in me. I bet you I am kind of Cubano. I feel it. I think I am. If not, it's 2022. I can identify as being El Cubano. I'm Cuban now. So y'all must address me as such. Or I'm gonna start some shit. But yeah, man, I don't think that Errol Spence is gonna be able to knock out Ugas. If he does, that's gonna be highly impressive. But you know what I think? I think Errol Spence is gonna get a majority decision. Some shit like that. And it's gonna be like one wide-ass, weird-ass card. Like some old 118, 111. It might be a knockdown that wasn't really a knockdown or a slip. Some shit like that. What else? It was something I wanted to talk about. Oh, did I tell y'all that I got bad blood down in Texas? Did I tell y'all that? For some reason, Texas hate my guts. I don't know why. I've been nothing but kind to them. And they just, something about them Texans, man. They can't stand me. I think it all started with Marquez. And the sad part about it is I'm half Mexican. Like full-blooded Chicano. Not even accepted by my own people. More trap music. But yeah, this weekend is kind of dull in boxing. Nothing really sticking out, I mean, yeah, you got Savannah Marshall taking on the chick that, it's just, it's not a good week in boxing, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the real meat and potatoes is next week. Next week, shit hits the fan. We can look at the schedule. I'm going to pull it up on the small screen here. But yeah, this weekend, it's just, It's just, All right, you got Sandor Martin fighting tomorrow against Jose Felix. I mean, some return by Sandor Martin. By the way, is Mikey Garcia still with Matchroom? Is he like what's left of Matchroom USA? Him and Jesse Vargas. What's up with Mikey Garcia? He should just rematch like Sandor Martin. You know what I think? I think that Mikey Garcia got his Errol Spence check and got all that money. What was it, like $7 million or something to fight Jesse Vargas, and he just been like, fuck it. Every time I see him, I just think about Lou Diamond Phillips. And he don't even look like him. He don't even look like him. Let me see here. Top Rank picked up this this card right here. On ESPN Plus. This is the schedule for this weekend. It ain't nothing there, guys. It ain't nothing there. I am interested in Savannah Marshall and Herman's, right? And I'm only interested in Florian Marku versus Chris Jenkins, because what is Florian Marku? All I know is every time I cover his fights, all his people come to my channel and they be like, brother, Albanian. We got a nice Albanian following on the channel. Shout out to all my Albanian brothers. I'm Florian Marku's biggest fan. Florian Marku bringing those views, y'all. I'm sorry. I got a shill. By the way, my settings are a little messed up. I had to rebuild my PC, so if there's a little bit of lag, I apologize. So yeah, listen, I'm Florian Marku's biggest fan. I cover all his fights now. Give me that sweet YouTube revenue and super chat. But yeah, this weekend ain't nothing there unless you want to watch some from Iceland. Tommy Hyde versus Marcelo Fernandez. What in the world? Norberto Jimenez, he's back. He fought Dani Nietes a few months back. I covered that fight. Kind of got a bad decision. And then next week, Golovkin versus Murata. Shichiro Yoshino versus Masayuki Ito. I don't know who Shichiro Yoshino is. I'm just trying to sound like I know who he is, but I don't. I do know who Masayuki Ito is. Junto Nakatani returns. I do know who he is. Versus, Ryoto Yamachi. I don't know who he is either. Then you got Ryan Garcia. What if he lose to this cat? Versus Emmanuel Tagu. Marlon Esparza versus Eni. All right. Oh, Gabe Rosado versus Shane Mosley Jr. This is a random ass fight right here. This is something I expect from Golden Boy in the Zone to put on. Because it's like, it's one of those cards that's intriguing. Or one of those fights that you're like, yo, what the fuck? Gabriel Rosado fighting Shane Mosley Jr. You know it don't mean nothing. But yet you just know like, yo, I got to watch that shit. And then somebody probably going to get robbed. Erickson Lubin versus Sebastian Fundora. I wonder how tall Fundora is going to be this week. Every fight, one fight, he's fucking, he's 6'9". The 6'9" large 54-pounder. Next fight, 6'4.5". He's 6'7". Like his height is always changing, bro. But overall, I like this card. This is pretty seductive. Tony Harrison versus Sergio Garcia. Ooh, winner fights Tim Tszyu. Ooh. Michaela Mayer versus Jennifer Hahn. This is going to be just an ass beating. I'm sorry. Like, Michaela Mayer's going to put a boot in her ass. The twin brother Maloneys, they return against TBA. So, those are just showcase fights. Tony Brown versus, I don't know who these people are. Let me just joking. Dina Thorslin. She is the other champion in the same division that Ebony Bridges just won in. WBO. Overall, pretty. This week is trash. Next week is just meh. Just meh. By the way, my black ass is going to be in the house like for eternity now. Legal fees are whooping my ass. But anyway, what's up with you guys, man? What's going on? How you guys making out? I'm on this dietary supplement called the Cleaner. What's going on? Is it going to get in the ring? What's going on? Look at the Schmo. What you doing down there, Schmo? You see a Roberto Duran Jr. where? Where? Conor Benn versus Chris Van Herden. They out of pocket for that one. We're going to be covering Mixed Rapper versus Isaac Hartman for my Aussie boxing heads. We got an interview from Billy Dibb after he got thrown on his back, got his ribs broken by Jacob and G. I'm going to upload that later on, tomorrow. Tyson Fury versus Dylan White. Have we heard anything about the undercard? Tyson Fury been hanging out with Gerald Big Baby Miller. Did I tell you about how Gerald Big Baby Miller tried to punk me? These boxers, man, they always trying to punk me, bro. Adrian Broner, Big Baby Miller. Who else? Sean Porter. I was about to fuck Sergey Kovalev up. It's not. He showed up to a press conference hungover. So I didn't know I had the flash on my camera on, and he was at the light, and he tried to grab my camera, and I jumped back like, yo, see, I was gonna punch him right in his. He thought Andre Ward beat him up. He ain't want to see no parts of T Street that day. Shit. Mess around me if you want to, you get messed up. The Charlos almost made me cry. I ain't gonna lie, I was hurt. I was depressed for like 3 months. I was like, what did I do wrong? I was like, what did I do? It's like, who are you? I was like, fight you this. We never heard of you. I was like, oh no. I swore I was Team Lions only, yo. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was about to do Fred, and I was about to start doing all these Charlo hate videos. And start cussing out Heyman. And be like, you know what? And all the people that stood by them, they turned their backs on us black brothers. I would have ran that route. But cooler heads prevailed. You know what? You know what'd be crazy? What if Bevo beat Canelo and Ryan Garcia lose? You know what fight I'm not interested in though? Is that I'm going to poop on and shit on. And you can tell if you've been on Twitter, he don't like it either. Fucking Tank Davis versus Rolly Romero. I do not like that fight. Especially since the very next week, we're supposed to be getting George Kambosos versus Devin Haney on regular ESPN. On regular ESPN. So that's kind of fucked up. They're going to try to charge this pay-per-view. I ain't going to say they're going to try to. They're charging us $75 to watch what 3 years ago would have been a regular Showtime fight, paying for no Rolly. They ain't right for that. But I'm going to do it because I do it for the people. What up, Hassan? Nah, I haven't watched Moon Knight, and I have no real interest in Halo. Never liked the games, so I have no interest in the show. But Moon Knight, I might. I've seen every Marvel show so far. The only one I didn't watch was What If, I think. Yeah, I didn't watch none of that. But I don't know. I might. Yeah, Errol looking a little stuck in the mud a little bit, but you know, he is on a layoff. 16 months since he fought Danny Garcia. And then before that, he was on a 14-month layoff. 15 months. So he's had some significant layoffs. And it's crazy that even in that time, Terrence Crawford hasn't been able to do anything. I've never heard of Moon Knight before, to be honest. I think I tried like Halo 3. I got it like the day it came out or something. I don't remember. And I was like, man, I'm not with all these jumping around and all these laser phaser shit. I'm not into all that. Might as well play some Smash Brothers or something. Or some fucking Pokemon Go. I barely play my PS5. That should be neglected. I stood in line for like an hour for my PS5. Like maybe 90 minutes. And I barely played a mofo. Been busy, man, suing everybody for everything that they got. Suing everybody. T-Street's fed up. I'm back in court next week. Then May the 24th for an 8-hour protracted hearing. That's an 8-hour trial, ladies and gentlemen. That shit's going to cost me like fucking $4,000. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's do some quick predictions real quick on the card. Apologies for the lag. I got to reset some things. I had to rebuild my PC, install a new like cooling fan. Running all this stuff requires like a lot of maintenance, man. Little one-man studio. This shit ain't easy. So if there's a little bit of lag, forgive me. All right, so Brandun Lee over Zachary Ochoa. Valenzuela over Francisco Vargas. That might end in a cut, doctor stoppage. Eastside Cruz should put a boot in old man Gamboa's ass. How old is Gamboa now? Now remember, you got to add more years to it because he's El Cubano. So which means any Cuban years, you got to add like at least 3 to 5 years. For example, Luis Ortiz's birthday was like yesterday or the day before. He's supposed to be 43 years old. But, you know what I think. I think Unk is like Unk Jr. I think he, like, at least, I'm going to say 48. I'm going to say Loser T's 48. They had the nerve. How old is this man? They had the nerve on New Year's Day. Okay, so he's listed. Gamboa's listed at 40 years old. Listed. So which means in Cubano years, he's like 45. Maybe 43. But since he was like, involved in a juicing scandal in the past, he loses integrity points. So which means he probably really 46. I don't know how that makes sense, but that's just what we're going to say. He's listed at 40. He ain't no 40. I'm not trying to hear that mess. $40 my ass. All right, back to the card. Where are we at? Josesito Lopez, Cody Crowley. That's going to be a good fight. Cody should be the favorite, but I'm going with Lopez. Now, Butaev versus Stanionis. I really like Stanionis. I'm going with Stanionis. Butaev sharp, but I feel Stanionis is better. To be honest, if I'm ranking the fights off of excitement, 6 of these fights, I'm like, number 1 is Spence Ugas, number 2, Butaev Stanionis, and then number 3, Crowley Lopez, number 4, Valenzuela Vargas, number 5, Brandun Ochoa, number 6, because that fight makes me sick, is Cryz versus Gamboa. I'm gonna shit on that fight. I'm gonna shit on it. Errol Spence is gonna splatter Ugas. Oh my god. It's a little extreme, bro. At least he's doing a full workout. I hate when boxers like do these half-ass, they come shadow box for a little bit, jump some rope, then just bounce. It's like you had a lot on the pay-per-view, bro.
The Errol Spence Jr. workout here on the Showtime Sports YouTube page as the welterweight champion of the world prepares for his unification showdown against Yordenis Ugas. 3 welterweight championships will be on the line on Saturday, April 16th on Showtime pay-per-view. Errol Spence Jr. inside the ring with his esteemed trainer, Derek James, one of the preeminent trainers in the world today, as Errol Spence Jr. preparing for his matchup against Yordenis Ugas, April 16th, live on Showtime pay-per-view from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time. On Saturday, April 16th, presented by Premier Boxing Champions, promoted by TGB Promotions and Man Down Promotions. Back to Errol Spence's workout.
All right, what's next on the docket here? So once again, if anybody cares, we're going to be here at 8 p.m., about 3 hours or so from now, for the Devin Haney top-ranked signing press conference. I don't know if they're going to have George Kambosos there via satellite or something, but I think so. Who knows? He might be, I don't know. The Maloneys are here. He might be here in the States. Who knows? But yeah, it's supposed to be at 8 o'clock. I'm hyped for the fight because you know why? Because it's going to put to bed all that undisputed and franchise mess, because Devin Haney's belt means nothing for real, for real. So I'm glad he's getting the fight. And the rumors are it's supposed to be a 3-fight deal. Haney wins. It's going to be a rematch with Kambosos, and then the winners of that has to fight Lomachenko whenever he's done, doing war stuff. Yeah. I don't know, Errol. You looking a little tired right there, bro. Yo, man, Ugas might take this guy to school. I don't know, man. And then remember, Ugas pretty much beat Manny Pacquiao, even though he was like 54 years old, with one hand. One daggone arm. And then people were calling me conspiracy theorists when you seen he had this big ass lump on his arm in like promo material building up to the fight. And I'm like, yo, this dude is injured. People like, nah, I don't make excuses for when Manny Pacquiao lose, you loser. That's what they told me. You're always making excuses for Pacquiao, you packed hard. I think Ugas gonna get robbed by Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones gives me the creeps, man. Like he got like that, like that type of old man look that I don't want to get in trouble. Like that old man look, it's like, yo, you're not just alive off of food and nutrients, bro. You're getting injected with some shit. Yeah, man, like certain people, when they get like a certain age and old, they just start looking all, you know, like spooky. It's like, bro, you scared the shit out of me, Jerry Jones. Dude, you scare me. Like, stop being so menacing looking. You know what? You know the Chancellor. What's the dude from Star Wars? The Chancellor. What's his name again? What's his name? Darth Sidious. Not him. What's his name? The one with the laser fingers. Like that Darth Vader, all this shit. Jerry Jones remind me of him. That dude. With the hoodie on. The black hood. I like Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns is one of my favorite characters from The Simpsons. I'm surprised that shit's still on. The Emperor, Palpatine. Palpatine, that's his name. Jerry Jones remind me of Palpatine. That he gotta like survive off of sucking the life force out of people and shit. That's a cool ass name though. It sounds like power, Palpatine. By the way, Errol Spence is like a farmer too. He's got like horses and shit and like prized cattle. You know, Marcus McDonough's real big into cattle. I heard he got like some prime ass steaks. Like over in Argentina, the money that he made from Mayweather made him like a billionaire, like damn near. No, to be honest, Bob don't look as intimidating as Jerry Jones. Like Bob looked like more of like an old ass cartoon character, to where Jerry Jones got like that evil, sinister ass look to him. Like I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, scares the jeebies out of me. You know who's old as hell and still got his wits about him? Don King. I was on that Zoom call with him and Trevor Bryan, and I covered that god awful event with him and Makabu, and he still got his wits about him. Like he be talking politics and shit. He be like, well, you know, we had Donald Trump in the office, and we would have never had this Ukrainian war. But see, the people got to stand up and know what they're voting for, because back in November, like, and it's like, yo, he really like still got it. But then he always like, and he's still doing that shit. Like, and I did steal it from him. Like where he always try to like say everything's for the people. It's like, he be like, and this $49.99 pay-per-view, it is for the people. It is for you to come out and have a good time. And it's like, bro, fuck out of here. Fucking $50, bro. You tripping, Don King. For Makabu versus Machunu, too, and Trevor Bryan versus Jonathan Goudry. Like, this is the type of event that's going to bring the people together. You come out, you can have a barbecue, you can bring your friends, you can bring your kids out. It's a good time for all. But he won that purse bid, though. Oh, turn the music down. Turn the music down.
In Dallas, Errol Spence Jr. Errol, you look in impeccable physical shape, but my goodness, you look razor sharp. How much are you looking forward to April 16th at AT&T Stadium against Yordenis Ugas?
I've been looking forward since, I dropped out from the Pacquiao fight. I knew I was going to face one of the two, either Pacquiao or Ugas. So I got Ugas. Ugas is a tough champion. He's a guy that, been through a lot in his life and went through it, and now he's a champion now. So he's living the American dream. He want to keep that American dream.
Oh yeah,
so,
Ugas got alopecia too.
Beat me, but with me, I want to get that. I want to get the other belt. So I have 3 belts, and hopefully we can go for the ultimate goal. That's to be undisputed champion of the world.
Now, you could have easily taken a tune-up fight after a 16-month layoff. You had an eye injury that derailed those plans to fight Manny Pacquiao back in August. But now you're fighting Yordenis Ugas. That's not an easy fight whatsoever. Why did you decide to right away jump into the fray and fight another welterweight champion of the world in Yordenis Ugas?
Well, I almost had, I did have, almost 2 career-ending injuries. So, I feel like I'm on borrowed time right now. So, I can't just sit around and fight a tune-up fight and then, God forbid something may happen or anything like that. So, send me straight in with the other sharks, And I feel like Ugas, he's a tough fighter, and he's gonna come to fight. He's gonna push me to that level, and that's what I wanted in training camp and everything. I want an opponent that's gonna push me, because I knew if I was fighting a tune-up or anything like that, like I could, sneak snacks in at night and do other stuff, because, I'm not fighting somebody that I feel like that's on my level, but I'm fighting somebody who's on my level, so I'm 100% prepared.
What kind of challenges does Yordenis Ugas pose to you?
From what, from what I heard, he's physical. From what I've seen, I know that he's very tough, and even with, when he fought Sean Porter, he was waving Sean Porter like, come on, like he was pumped up. So he's a guy that got their fighter spirit inside him. So, he's definitely going to give it his all and try to best me.
Derek James told me when I asked him about how you're feeling physically, your eye, he goes, we're not even thinking about that whatsoever. How are you feeling physically?
I'm feeling great. Like, I've been sparring, being great rounds in, and putting in a lot of work. And, nothing's been wrong with my eye at all. It's been feeling good. It's actually stronger than the other one. So, I just got to be just 100% on point and make sure that, I don't get hit with careless shots and things like that.
Ismael Salas, the head trainer of Yordenis Ugas, told me yesterday that he saw a difference in your fight against Danny Garcia compared to that of Sean Porter. When I asked him to clarify those comments, he said that you are a different fighter. He sees a difference between what we saw out of you in September of 19 and what you saw of you in December of 2020 against Danny Garcia. He doesn't think you're the same guy. How do you respond to those comments?
Well, shit, have his fighter fight Sean Porter and get in a car accident and fight a year and a half after that and fight a top-level fighter to see is he the same fighter or not. So, who's gonna be the same after just a year and a half layoff of getting thrown from a car? So, I wasn't the same fighter, but like I said, even half of me will be mostly top guys at the top level. So, but I feel great now. I feel 100%, and everything in my body is on point and feeling real regular. So, if he think I'm different, then we'll see in 2.5 weeks how different I am.
What do you think the difference is going to be in the fight against Yordenis Ugas?
With who?
Against Ugas, like, what do you think the difference is going to be? Your ring IQ, your body punching. What do you think the difference is going to be?
Everything. I got it all. Like I got everything. So, whatever he can bring to the table, whatever he try to muster up with, he try to fight. I can box, I can bang, I can do it all. I can jab, I can move, I can punch. you know, I can sit in the inside, all that. So, you know, I'm with anything that he with, but I'm going to dictate the pace and I'm going to control everything, and I'm going to make it until my fight.
What the hell are you talking
Assuming
about,
all
Marion?
goes according to plan against Yordenis Ugas, and you have your hand raised
your
on
head out your
Saturday,
ass.
April 16th on Showtime pay-per-view at AT&T Stadium. Is
Just
a matchup
joking.
against
Just
Terrence
joking.
Crawford in the near future?
I think so. I'm hopeful that, you know, it can happen. You know, I had 3 belts. You know, he had his belt. So, you know, that'd be the ultimate goal. And I feel like that'd be the biggest fight in sports, you know, for the undisputed crown and us 2 top 5, you know, best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. So, you know, I think that's a huge fight, especially us in our prime. I think, you know, it's going to be a great fight. And so, you know, I'm hoping that can happen. But like I said, not looking past the Ugas at all. That's my main priority. That's the guy that, you know, I got to look at, because if you know, I got to beat him to get Terrence Crawford or anybody else, you know. So I want to get the 3rd belt and, you know, become undisputed. So that's my ultimate goal. So I got to get past this test. So I'm not looking past Ugas at all.
If Yordenis Ugas is watching this right now, what message do you want to tell him, as we are just over 2 weeks away until you both step inside the ring at AT&T Stadium?
I ain't got nothing to say to him. It's 2.5 weeks left. He signed a contract. So it's fight time, man. I ain't got nothing to say to him. It's 2.5. He already know it. It's time to rumble. Everybody know how I fight. Everybody know what I do. I'm looking for an excellent, one-sided, great fight. And I'm going to put on a great show and great performance in front of my fans and family, and put on the great show like I always do.
Errol, thanks so much for the time. We look forward to seeing you during fight week in a few weeks.
Thank you.
WBC and IBF
James
welterweight
Payne?
champion of the world, Errol Spence Jr.
I like
we
this joint.
appreciate you joining us here on the Showtime Sports YouTube page. Don't miss it. Saturday, April 16th, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas, on Showtime pay-per-view, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time. Watch this man, Errol Spence Jr. put 2 of his titles on the line against Yordenis Ugas, who has 1 title on the line. 3 world titles will be up for grabs on Saturday, April 16th. So long from Dallas, Errol Spence Jr., determined, shredded, and ready to go. Don't miss it in 2 weeks' time.
Don't miss it.
They have each battled almost unimaginable adversity.
All Access, the first episode, I believe, is tomorrow night. Let me check real quick for you. For Spence versus Ugas. I'm interested. I don't think there's ever been... No, there hasn't, because this is first Showtime pay-per-view. I don't think there's ever been... there hasn't been a Errol Spence All Access before. As I said, I'm leaning more towards Errol Spence. Yordenis Ugas. I'm still saying it's a 50-50 fight, and I'm not confident to say that Errol Spence is going to win, but also I'm not confident to say that Yordenis Ugas is going to win. But because of the numerous layoffs and the injuries and the consistency of Ugas, I'm going to have to go with Ugas, even though he had 2 questionable fights, one against Mike Dallas, a guy he shouldn't have been fighting, and then, you know, he struggled against Abel Ramos. But many people feel that Yordenis Ugas defeated Show and Porter, and then he beat Old Man Pacquiao. You know, destroyed Omar Figueroa. And all Errol Spence has to show since beating Sean Porter is Danny Garcia. And, well, depends on how you look at Danny Garcia. Errol Spence's style was made for him. You see what I'm saying? With that being said, we're going to be here tomorrow. Not tomorrow. 8 p.m. in what, about 2.5 hours or so? For the Devin Haney, it's supposed to be the Devin Haney, George Kambosos press conference, but Top Rank has been keeping it kind of secret. Here is the undercard once again for Spence versus Ugas. On the free, they say it's free, but you have to have Showtime. On the Showtime portion, leading into the pay-per-view at 7 p.m., you can say that a free prelims. You're going to have Brandun Lee taking on Zachary Ochoa, and then Radzhab Butaev taking on Eimantis to be the WBA mandatory for Spence versus Ugas. So basically, if the winner of Spence versus Ugas doesn't fight Terrence Crawford, then they have to fight the winner of Butaev Stanionis. So that's the free portion, the Showtime portion. A pay-per-view is going to open up with Jose Valenzuela versus Francisco Vargas, Cody Crowley versus Josesito Lopez, Cryz versus Yuriorkis Gamboa, and then, of course, Errol Spence, WBC IBF 147-pound welterweight champion, taking on WBA Super 147-pound welterweight champion, Yordenis Ugas. $74.99 on Showtime pay-per-view. And also that very next week, which we're not hearing nothing about, and I think here in the States it's going to flop big time. You know, we're going to have April the 23rd. It's supposed to be Tyson Fury versus Dylan White. It's a daytime pay-per-view here on ESPN. No price announced yet. Then, what is it? It's not the next week, but 2 weeks later, you're going to have Canelo versus Bivol. That's going to be what? With the zone, I believe it's like $59.99. I already have the zone. Then May the 28th is supposed to be Tank Davis versus Rolly Romero. Too many pay-per-views. Too many. Too many pay-per-views. Too many. It's sickening now. Anyway, I'm going to see you guys in a couple hours for the Devin Haney press conference. I already posted the link here. I'll post it again for you guys in the chat. Down below in the description box, the links to my social media, my Twitter, my Instagram, Facebook, my Twitch page. Also, WBC channel app powered by the Vive Network for Roku, Android, Apple. Thanks for watching. Here's the link to the next stream in 2.5 hours.